Hello, world. Welcome to the 281st Climate Change Emergency Protest here in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. It is April 11th, 2024. I'm inside our cheap greenhouse that we haven't started planting seeds yet in, but starting to rain, so I think I'll do it in here. Um, let's see, this is April 11th, 2024, number 281. Next week is number 282. That'll be on April 19th, 2024. Earth Day. I'm not Earth Day is April 22nd, this coming Monday, and that's the 54th, I think. Right now, the United States and the world is engaged in what you call deferred action. They should have been doing things 30 years ago, 40 years ago concerning climate change, and now here we are. The ship is basically wrecked into the bridge. The bridge is on the verge of collapse, and now they still aren't going to do anything about it. They're going to wait for the bridge to fall, meaning our Earth ecosystem, our planet of ability, being able to live on this planet is going bye-bye, and they still don't recognize there's a problem. They don't want to recognize there's a problem. They just want to make money and get reelected to make more money so they can get reelected to make more money. And that's all politicians around the world. There are very few that seem to be doing the right thing and doing things that are required to make the world a better place. The basic things they're not doing right now are basically stop subsidies to the fossil fuel industry. There's no reason to be doing this. They're making record profits, and when they get subsidized, it's the taxpayers that are paying out the bill and everything for that. Right now, the fossil fuel industry gets $7 trillion a year. That's $148 million. It would take 148 million years at $50,000 earning. Like if I earn 50,000 a year, it'd take 148 million years to equal $7 trillion per year is what we pay the fossil fuel industry. $7 trillion a year is $19 billion a day. It's $800 million an hour and $14 million a second. Come on, Luna. Come on. So it's starting to rain pretty good. I want the dogs to be in here. Come on. So they need to stop subsidizing the fossil fuel industry. They need to stop new projects. Worldwide, there were 400 oil and gas projects worldwide in the last 2 years. And right now, the United States produced, under Obama, 12.3 million. Under Obama, President Obama, everyone thinks he was a climate change president. He wasn't. It was 12.3 million barrels per day they were producing. The United States was. He just dramatically increased the pipelines around the world. Also, under Biden, it became 13.3 million barrels a day in 2023. And right now, we're projected to do 14 million barrels a day. Now, that doesn't mean anything, but basically what it means is it's a world record. No country has ever produced this much oil at all. I mean, we're by far producing more oil than anyone ever has. Right now, the USA also has records in natural gas. We're producing more natural gas, which is methane, a dangerous greenhouse gas, than anyone ever has as well. So the things are going the wrong way. People think Biden's a climate change president. It's the opposite. This Inflation Reduction Act that was passed by the Congress and Biden, he pushed it through. The amount of projects and oil being produced and gas being produced it far exceeds any good the Inflation Reduction Act could have done. Right now, there are 73 million acres that have been auctioned off in the Gulf of Mexico for oil production and gas production. The Willow Project in Alaska was authorized by Joe Biden. The fossil fuel industry spends $42 million per year to lobby against climate change initiatives. So they're an enemy of the people. They're an enemy of survival for the world and for the United States as well. They spend that's $42 million per year in lobbying against climate change. They also spend $175 million a year to portray themselves as some sort of transformative corporation or object on your side concerning climate change, like ExxonMobil trying to portray themselves and pumping out the idea of hydrogen production. Well, to get that, you have to have methane. You split off the atom CH4, you split off the hydrogen atoms to create hydrogen, okay? But it leaves carbon and it goes in the atmosphere. So it's a whole terrible thing. The Inflation Reduction Act, no provision for mass transit. People don't know this. There's no provision for mass transit. It's continuation of the car culture, electric cars and things like that. And the weight of electric cars is ginormous. Pickup trucks, for example, are 3,000 pounds heavier than what this gasoline counterpart is. I'm not saying gasoline's good, but these electric cars are extremely heavy, and our bridges can't support it. They'll collapse if you get in a traffic jam on a bridge. You got parking garages won't be able to handle the weight of the extra trucks and cars. And when you tow an electric car, you have to put it up on a Jertran platform. If you tow it with the wheels on the ground, it'll burn out the battery because they generate electricity as the wheels turn. So you can't do that either. It's a whole different thought process. So it's a continuation of business as usual with the car culture and no mass transit. There are many ideas you could do with light rail and things like that. Use the existing highways, put in Jersey barriers, cement barriers to block off one lane of traffic or two lanes of traffic, congest the cars, make it not worth your time to drive as opposed to take the mass transit. They're not going to do it. Elon Musk, not a big fan, but he is developing a driverless taxi. So when you get to your depot for the mass transit, you just call up a driverless taxi, have it pick you up, take you to your work, pick you up from your house, take you to the mass transit, things like that. They could have parking lots with these cars all around and make it the ability to pick you up on a whim. As soon as you say you need a ride, the car comes and picks you up. You think about it, your car sits in the driveway probably for 22 hours a day. You might use it 2 hours a day, most people at the most. And the other 22 hours a day, 23 hours a day, it just sits in your driveway doing nothing but costing you money and also ruining the environment. So intrinsically, nothing has changed. That's what Joe Biden said to the Wall Street people initially when he campaigned. And he's right. Nothing has changed. It's only gotten worse and worse. The COP28 Conference of Parties that was in United Arab Emirates, I guess it was, recently, COP28, is proof that nothing's going to change. It only gets worse and worse. And these are 28 of these conferences. They're not getting to it. They don't want to get to it, and it's just a delaying tactic to make the average person feel better. Paris 2015 agreement, where they said they're going to hold heating under 2 degrees, and then they negotiated that with the island nations by saying, "Oh yeah, we'll do a 1.5 degree Celsius increase since the 1880 baseline, not the 1750." So it's cooking the books, and it's not enforced at all. That's why things are going out of control. So solar panels, you see these giant fields around here, at least, of solar panels on the ground. Well, it's a disaster because you're on the soil, you're changing the whole environment by having the solar panels on the ground. You're blocking out the sunlight getting to the ground. You're changing the whole ecosystem by having it there. You have to have a clear field of vision, which is a field which had trees on it at one time, most likely. So it's not a good situation. They're only efficient up to 20%, and then they stop being efficient. They don't really do a great job right now. And I'm not saying that's not the answer, is not solar, but solar panels are not the answer on the ground. Now they last 20 years. What are you going to do with them after that? Also, they're black, so they heat up, and then the the sun's rays then heat up the solar panel, and then it's shot into the atmosphere. But with greenhouse trapping gases, it actually contributes to heating up the atmosphere rather than have an albedo effect. So electricity in this country is basically done with gas, oil, and coal to generate it. It's old technology. They heat up water, which is like 400 years old. Heat up water and make steam, turns a turbine, and then that's how they do it, rather than direct, such as a solar panel. But they need a different way of doing it rather than just solar panels. The the environment's being treated like an open sewer. I mean, you see smokestacks, that's an open sewer. Okay, they're dumping crap in the atmosphere. It should be recycled. These are basic things that should be done by the government, ordered by the government. See them around houses. Houses that run on oil heat have chimneys, and the carbon dioxide from that goes in the atmosphere. Why not recycle that somehow, the heat and everything else, and reheat the house till all that's left is the carbon that you sequester, and it makes the world a better place. Exhaust pipes on cars. There should be no exhaust pipes on cars. The only way around that is electric cars, but these batteries are extremely heavy. They're bad for the environment. You have to mine the heavy metals and things like that. Often children are involved. At the very least, it destroys the environment. There are a lot of things that need research and development done that aren't being done, and There are solutions. I don't know what they are just yet, but they are out there. It's just that we're not spending our money on research and development. We're spending it on war. For example, the United States, Genocide Joe is sending weapons over to Israel constantly, 2,000-pound bombs, I don't know, 1,800 of them they sent over recently, 30 fighter jets over there, F-35 fighter jets shipping over, $14 billion in giving it to Israel, and then on the other hand, he wants to build a dock in the Mediterranean to help the Gazans get relief from food. Well, the reason they're not getting help relief from food is because the Israelis have made it an open air prison with wire and barbed wire and cages around all of Gaza. So it's a prison, a place with wire and fences and barbed wire and armed guards around it is called a prison. And 6 of the 7 checkpoints for having food enter have been blocked off. Only the Egyptian side up by Rafah is open slightly to have food brought in. The problem is we have sided ourselves with psychopathic, genocidal maniacs, and our guy in the White House, as much as you might love him, as much as you might love Biden or Trump or the Congress, they're genocidal maniacs right now. They're committing genocide. They're committing war crimes by continuing on with these people and aiding and abetting them by giving them food, by giving them money and weapons. Weapons are shipped over in shipments every 36 hours or something like that. It's crazy, or 30, whatever it is. It's a huge amount of weapons going over there, and it shouldn't be done. And if you're voting in these two parties, Republicans or Democrats, in this country, and whatever party you're in over in Germany or United Kingdom, if you're continuing to vote for them or going to vote for these guys, you too are a war criminal. I don't know if you'll be dealt with in time or not, or people will be held accountable for what they've done. I don't know, but my theory is don't belong in those parties. Therefore, you remove yourself slightly from being a part of this whole war criminal genocidal campaign we're on. So we're not doing the basics. The big issues right now, the president is up for grabs again. Joe Biden's running for office, Donald Trump, and there are various third parties involved. But the big issues supposedly are the economy, abortion. So these are issues that are brought about by their lack of action or too much action concerning the population of the United States, and they're deliberately making it a point. You create a good cop, bad cop situation, and you're not tackling the issue. You want to create the issue so that you have something to campaign on. Also, immigration. The problem is not the people at our border in the United States. The problem is the cause of the people at the border of the United States. Their lives suck. They're leaving their countries in South and Central America and coming up here. Well, why is that? Well, it's because it's either political or it's gangs involved or climate change. It's becoming unlivable down there due to climate change. So Democrats and Republicans have been in charge this whole time. If you got a problem in this country, if you're complaining about stuff, it's not the Democrats, it's not the Republicans, it's both of them. They're involved in a situation that they create these issues. They make things worse and worse and worse, and that's what they want. You create an abortion issue, you create an immigration issue, you create an economy issue, you cause a problem, and then you blame the other side for the problem you just caused. They're all doing it. They're both doing it, both sides. So the problem right now is that we are being pawns in a power game. And you don't realize that you're being treated this way. You don't realize you're being propagandized by your news network. ABC, CBS, NBC are kind of Democratic oriented. Fox Television is Republican oriented. And it's just pure propaganda. They create the problem and then they campaign on it. They raise money on it too. There's a huge amount of money involved. The problem right now with climate change are the governments worldwide. Washington, D.C., and everyone down there, the Congress, the president, even the Supreme Court are the problem right now. Congress is bought and sold. The presidents are bought and sold. And the Supreme Court, they're rotted to the core as well. This whole thing like Citizens United, where they said corporations are people too, what a bunch of horse hockey. Let's treat them like people. Okay, tax them at 35%. The kind of taxes we pay. No, they pay out like 5%, 10%, 15%. If they're people, make them people. If they're going to be people, they need to be held accountable, such as the laws concerning pollution. I can't take a vat of oil and just dump it in the backyard, but corporations basically do that by pumping crap into the air and destroying the environment around them, cutting down trees, putting out fertilizers or pesticides into the soil and things like that. It's just ludicrous to say corporations are people. But if you want to do that, let's do it right the whole way. Everything's equal, everyone's equal, and you're treated the same tax-wise and environmental-wise. So people, I've heard a lot of people say, "Well, it's important you just vote." I've heard this last 3 weeks. Just vote. That's all that matters. Well, no, because if you're going to vote for the wrong thing against your own interests, you might as well have "I voted, I'm stupid." Because if you're voting for the two parties in this country, Democrat, Republicans, you're voting against your own survival. You don't see it. You don't understand what's happening, and you think this talk is ludicrous that way, but you're voting against your own survival. You're voting against the survival of your grandchildren, your children, and yourself if you're young enough. If you're in your 80s, who cares? You're going to die anyway, probably. But if you're younger than that, you're voting against your own best interest. So you're voting for a genocide. You're voting for genocide in Gaza. Okay, the Gaza that the Israelis are destroying right now, and they're going to clean house. They're going to sweep it clean, and they're going to push those people right out of Gaza. And if they remain, they're going to die of starvation. You're voting for, if you're voting Democrat or Republican right now, Joe Biden, Donald Trump, any Republican or Democrat, you're voting for the ecocide of the entire biosphere. These people are war criminals, all right? These people are criminals against the world itself as far as survival goes. You look at a recent decision against Switzerland, that the older women filed a lawsuit, and they won because they said the government is not protecting them against disaster and their ecocide. So no more sides left. We're out of genocide and ecocide. Just about covers all the sides there are. So you're making wrong choices right now if you're continuing these two parties. And don't turn us off. Just listen to the end. Third party, Green Party, Jill Stein. That's all you got left. You can't go with libertarians. They're maniacs as far as the environment goes. And that just leaves you. You can't go with Robert Kennedy because he's also a genocidal maniac as far as his policy goes. He's all about Israel as well. Donald Trump, all about Gaza and genocide. Definitely an ecocide maniac. Joe Biden, genocide, ecocide maniacs. So their policies are way off. So the third party is your only choice, Jill Stein and the Green Party. Please look it up on the internet. Please get out of your two parties. Go on your computers. I said before, get out of your party, register as an independent or register as a Green Party person. Don't ever vote for Joe Biden. Don't ever vote for Donald Trump. And if you do, you have no room to complain about what's going on then in the world. It's your fault because you're staying in those parties and you're voting for these guys. It's your fault, not my fault, your fault. Okay, it's not me, it's you. So you say that the Green Party can't win, but actually 100 million people last election didn't vote at all. 150 million people did vote, but they voted for murder and ecocide and genocide by voting for Republican and or Democrat. So I'll catch you next week, and please make better choices and the choices you're making right now. And I'm saying you because the majority of the people don't register Green Party. They don't register independent and then vote for third parties at all, meaning the Green Party. So, I mean, it is you. It's not me. So hopefully you'll think clearly in the next election and what's coming up. Right now, get out of your parties, and I'll catch you next week. That'll be Climate Change Talk number 182.